In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can use the clone tool to remove things from a photo that you aren't wanting there. So I'm just going to use this photo from Pixels, and I'm going to show you how you can remove the man from the scene. So the clone tool is located down in the left-hand panel in your tools, and it's the one that looks like a little stamp. So if you click on that, and now you need to choose a soft round brush. I'll show you why soon and compare it to why you wouldn't want to use a hard round one. And you're going to use the Option or Alt key on your keyboard, and you're going to choose an area that you're going to clone from and hold that down while you click. So if I want to remove that man, I'm going to choose a bit of the surrounding quite close to him so it looks realistic. So I'm going to hold down the Option key while I click about there and then let go of the Option key. And you will now see that the photo it's taking the information from where the cross is and putting it where I've got my cursor. The problem here is I can't actually see it in very good detail. So I'm actually going to zoom in with my magnifying glass. I'm going to zoom in quite a bit, and you will see that what's happening is I can get rid of the person quite well, but because it's set to a soft brush, I'm actually removing some of the detail of the rock here, and you'll see that my brush is so big, so it's actually going to start moving the photo over to there. So I'm just going to downsize my brush a little bit using the brackets beside the P, and I'm just going to hold down the Alt key or Option key while I click there and then remove this little area I've done here by mistake. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use some of the rock to the left, the top of that, to put on the top of this rock so it looks a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to just make the brush a little bit smaller again using the brackets. I'm going to hold down the Option key while I choose an area at the top of this rock and then let go. And now it's going to take the information from where that rock is, so I can kind of start to make it look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so you'll kind of get the hang of it. I'm just going to go back to the start and redo this now that I'm zoomed in more for you to be able to see it a bit better. So I'm going to choose an area close to the man by pressing the Option key and clicking, and then I'm going to use the clone tool to just clone him out. If you find that you're moving too far to the left and it's starting to clone things that you don't want it to, just re-pivot where you're getting the information from. So go to the left or the right, depending what direction you're going, and repress the Option key to get it from this direction. It's a lot easier to be zoomed in because you're going to be able to see it a lot better to get a more realistic result. Okay, so now I've got him all disappeared. I'm just going to go back to down here and click on the top of that rock, and I can put that on top of here. You want to be a little bit careful when you're doing scenes like this. You don't want it to look, the nature or landscape scenes, to look too much of a pattern. But if I zoom back out, so if I go Command 0 to bring it back to the size of my screen, I think you'll find that it looks pretty realistic, and that's not a bad job. I'll just quickly show you why you wouldn't use a hard round brush to clone. Just make it a lot bigger so it's more obvious. If I was to clone that rock, you will see that you can actually see the circle of where you've cloned, which could be a cool stylistic approach, but for this particular result, it wouldn't really work very nicely. So you want to make sure you've got a soft round. The next photo, I'm just going to show you another one from Pixels, is if you wanted to remove this path, you could do it. So same process, choose an area close by, and you could come in and remove that. The problem with this, though, is you're going to find there's going to be a lot of repetition of the grasses, and it might start to look a little bit unrealistic if the same sort of pattern keeps reoccurring throughout your photo. So it's something that you need to be mindful of. But I'll just quickly show you that you can get a semi realistic looking scene, but you might want to spend a bit more time because you can kind of see there's a bit of a pattern happening through the grasses there. So you'd want to just kind of be careful with where you're selecting the areas to clone from. But yeah, that's the clone tool.